Philadelphia and Miami. In Philly, cheesesteaks. In Miami, Cuban sandwiches. Philly's got history. Miami, scenery. You gotta love the Fanatic. And Billy, he's not too shabby either. 3-game set, Phils and Fish. Inside Marlins Park, it's nice and dry outside all over South Florida. A rainy Monday night. The Phils are in town, 2 games under. The Marlins coming off their 2-1 win over the Diamondbacks. Former teammates. As the Marlins get ready, Alex Sanabia takes the ball. The first pitch has some sort of contraption. Even that thing couldn't throw strikes. Hi, everyone. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hunt. It's the Marlins and the Phils, and these two teams, Tommy, just met up in Philadelphia, and they split a 4-game series.
It's amazing. It seems like the Marlins and Phillies have played about 28 games already, but there is a familiarity with the two teams, and I think they know each other. The Marlins played good at Citizens Bank Park. Remember, they had that 14-run game up there.
Great contrast between these two teams. Very veteran team with the Phillies, obviously young with the Marlins. And yesterday, this young Marlins bunch was in deep against Wade Miley. The lefty for Arizona had a 1-0 lead. He was beating them. And then the youngsters, the youth, took over in the 6th inning.
All right, you want to know how to concoct a rookie rally. This is how it's done. The 6th inning with 1 down, Echeverria singles up the middle off a guy who'd been throwing very good. Miley thought he had it. Okay, a runner on. Now with 2 outs and 2 strikes on Derek Dietrich, he hits a ball, good at bat, gets it past Goldschmidt, and that sends Echeverria over to third. So 1st and 3rd, they're 2 out. Another rookie comes to the plate, Marcelo Zuna. He hit a ball that he said later was out. It wasn't. It was a double off the wall that put the Marlins up 2-1, and that was all the runs they really needed.
And the Marlins would snap a 7-game losing streak and beat the Diamondbacks yesterday. So that contrast between veteran and youngster, well, that goes to the mound as well in the pitching matchup for this one. Alex Sanabia gets the start against Cole Hamels. It's our Coventry Healthcare pitching matchup.
You know, Hamels is 1-6 on the year. He's 8-11 in his career against the Marlins. Even though his 2 games this year he's pitched, he's been very well. Sanabia, a 2.61 ERA in his career against the Phillies.
Yeah, so strap in, get ready. Here we go. It's Phillies and it's Marlins, and it's coming up. And, of course, anybody in a Philly uniform has the chance to be a Marlin killer. Some of the all-time Fish killers, Craig and Jeff, will explore. They're going to explore their space out in center field. One of a three-game set. Let's head out to center field. In the center field set, Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine. Gentlemen.
All right, Rich, and good evening again, everybody. I always like these Phillies-Marlins matchup. A couple of names have changed, but some of the big names have not. And the Phillies, you know, when you get guys who year after year can put some numbers up, usually it's in the division, they become all-timers. And the Phillies have three of them against the Marlins, one not in the lineup tonight.
Yeah, Marlin killers. When you're in the same division like the Marlins are with the Phillies and you play each time 18 times a year, and like you said, these guys have been around a long time, they're going to compile some pretty big numbers, especially the quality players like they have over there. You see Ryan Howard, Jimmy Rollins, and Chase Utley, the averages and games played and home runs and RBIs they put up just against the Marlins. This is just against the Marlins, folks. Wow. Doesn't even include a lot of other teams, which I'm sure they've killed a few other teams as well. But
I mean, you look at the games there. Less than a season for Ryan Howard, who's out, by the way, with a knee injury tonight. We'll give you a little update on him. 301, that's less than 162 by a long shot. 36 homers. That would probably break out to like a 45 home run type season against one team.
Yeah, 45 or 50,
or
which
more,
early on, that's what Ryan Howard was putting up every single year. He's putting up 45 and 50. But Chase Utley, after having some serious knee problems the last couple years, is back. One of my favorite players that I've played with and against, just a gamer all the way around. And Jimmy Rollins, what a great job he's done at shortstop for a long time with the Phillies.
Jimmy Rollins is at home plate 154 times. Think about that. 154 times against the Marlins. That's tied with Chipper Jones for most of any player. Ryan Howard, MRI, did not fly down with the team. He is with the club, will not play tonight, probably won't even be available off the bench. Charlie Manuel not quite sure when he's going to get Ryan back in the lineup. Chooch, though, Carlos Ruiz out with a hamstring. Could be up to a month. Two big losses for the Phils as we get set for game one of this three-game series. Game 8 of the season. The Marlins have won 3 of the 7, and last time out, split a 4-game set in Philadelphia. Tonight, the first of 3 is next.
Florida, brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By AT&T Uverse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PICK-AT&T. Rethink possible. By Just for Men Auto Stop, the foolproof way to get rid of gray. And by Checkers. Feast on. Here we are in Miami tonight on a rainy Monday with the roof closed, the windows shut tight. The Phillies and the Marlins ready to go. The Phils come in at 2 under, 21 and 23. This is the lineup that Charlie Manuel sends out there. Jimmy Rollins at short, Ben Revere in center. Michael Young moves over to first in the absence of Ryan Howard. Chase Utley slides to the cleanup spot. Dominic Brown hits fifth. Delman Young is struggling out in right. Freddie Galvis hit the game winner yesterday. Eric Kratz tied the game before Galvis won it. And Cole Hamels is in the 9 spot. And Alex Sanabia takes aim at the Phils, and he just saw them 2 weeks ago. Last 5 starts, 0-5. Pinch a penny brings you the first pitch. Jimmy Rollins into right field. A base hit, and Rollins is aboard. A leadoff hit for the Phils.
That would check on the defense behind Alex Sanabia in this game tonight. Defense is always brought to you by Cleveland Clinic with Chris Coughlin and Ruggiano and Ozuna in the outfield. Polanco and Echeverria, Dietrich, and Nick Green gets another start at first base. Jeff Mathis once again behind the plate.
Ben Revere in the 2 spot with Howard out. Charlie Manuel has kind of shuffled the deck. Rollins leaning at first, not running. And Revere takes a strike. That's Sam Holbrook calling balls and strikes. And that right there is Ben Revere, speedy center fielder, the 25-year-old out of Lexington, Kentucky, a former Twin, coming over to the Phillies in exchange for Vance Worley and Trevor May.
You know, in that ball game that Sanabia pitched against the Phillies at Citizens Bank Park, remember he went up against another Philly killer. We didn't have him on that list, Kyle Kendrick. But Sanabia gave up 6 hits and 4 runs in his 5 innings of work.
2 weeks ago when the Marlins saw Revere, he was struggling. But in the last 2 weeks, 14 games, he's hitting .406. And Sanabia misses.
I think with Alex, you always check the differential in the changeup and the breaking ball, how he uses that. Because remember, his changeup's his best pitch, but he also has to spot that fastball because he's not overpowering with it.
Working with Jeff Mathis. A lot of praise for Mathis and his work with Ricky Nolasco yesterday. You see Mathis peeking around Revere to see what Rollins was up to at first. Mathis talking to us before the ball game about Sanabia. He's caught him on a side session, caught him a little bit in the spring, and after watching video, he knows exactly what you and I know. He has to command that fastball and command it low in the strike zone. Rollins, 4 stolen bases. He's been caught a couple times. And he's running. Revere up the middle. Echeverria got 1 and got 2. Well, that's what you want out of a hitter, is to put the ball on the ground, but it led Echeverria right to the bag.
Usually with a guy like Rollins, it's a steal, not a hit and run. Either way, with Echeverria covering, he was moving over and the ball was hit right to him. It turned out to be a 6-3 double play. Perfect positioning, and it's always fun to watch how quickly Echeverria gets rid of the ball. Great job.
And so Michael Young now. Of course, the Phillies got Michael Young to play third base, but with Texas, he was pushed all around that infield as the Rangers acquired a variety of players, and he did play some first base. And so he finds himself at first base in tonight's ball game with Ryan Howard getting a cortisone shot in his right knee. Probably will not see action in this series. And that's obviously of concern to the Phils. A healthy Ryan Howard, a productive Ryan Howard, is a key to a team. And this sounds odd to say for a Charlie Manuel team. It's a team that is struggling to score runs. They're 12th in the National League in runs scored. You heard Sam Holbrook say it's out. Counts 2-2.
I gave you a good number that depicts that for the Phillies. They've been shut out 6 times this year. That's more than all of last year.
Of course, the Marlins lead the majors. They've been shut out 8 times this year. Young on a breaking ball, pumps it into the seats, and it's fouled off. The Marlins winning yesterday by scoring just the 2 runs. That's not easy to do, and I know runs are down throughout baseball. But for Mike Redmond, he would love a laugher. He would love a game like he had on that Sunday in Philly.
He would love a May 5th game. That was that Sunday.
Got him. Called strike 3. Sanabia strikes out Young and has a rather uneventful top of the first. Marlins get their first swings against Cole Hamels next. A colorful array in the gift shop. Score of this ball game, that is Cole Hamels. The 29-year-old is having a very un-Hamels-like year. 1-6 with a 4.61 ERA. Adeiny Echeverria takes strike 1. Remember that Sesame Street song, Tommy? One of these things doesn't belong. That record just doesn't seem to belong next to Cole Hamels' name. That fastball misses away.
You know, if you look at all of his numbers, don't look at the 1-6 and 4.61. Last year at this time, there are some similarities and there are some drastic differences. The similarities is last year at this time, hitters were hitting .224 against him. This year, .231. That's pretty good, about the same. Big differential in strikeouts to walks. The command hasn't been there for Cole Hamels.
Echeverria with a count 1-2. Adeiny to be followed by Placido Polanco and Derek Dietrich. And he shoots a liner into right field. That's a base hit. That's where Echeverria is finding a lot of hits, to right and to right center. And the 24-year-old Cuban shortstop leads it off with a single. You've seen Echeverria. Now meet the rest of the fish. Placido Polanco, Derek Dietrich, Marcell Ozuna, those 2 rookies, 3 and 4. With Ruggiano slotted 5th. Chris Coughlin starting to swing it. He's earned a start in left field. Nick Green's at first. Jeff Mathis back behind the plate. And Alex Sanabia hits 9th. And here's Polanco against his former teammate, Hamels.
Yeah, no mystery is Placido Polanco to the Phillies. 688 games as a Philly.
Polanco pops it into right. Delman Young makes the catch. And so an out here in the first. Phil's defensively tonight. It's brought to you by the Cleveland Clinic, Florida.
And there they are defensively, the Phillies with Dominic Brown, Ben Revere, and Delman Young in the outfield. Freddie Galvis, a versatile guy. He can play all over in the infield. Rollins and Utley, you've seen those two before. Michael Young at first base, and Eric Kratz will get a little catching time, as he did early in the year when Ruiz was serving his suspension.
Runner goes. Good jump. The throw by Kratz, not nearly in time, and the first Major League stolen base for Danny Echeverria. And he had a terrific jump against Cole Hamels. Eric Kratz never had a chance.
Just fantastic. No chance at all. And Rollins realized that as he took the throw from Kratz. Good job by Echeverria.
Dietrich swings and misses. And to count 1 ball and 1 strike. Normally, when the Marlins and the Phillies play, especially with a starter like Hamels, you can look down the list of matchups and guys that have 20, 30 at-bats against him. But obviously with this young Marlin bunch, especially at the top of the order, aren't a whole lot of at-bats. Dietrich pulls it foul. Dietrich was not with the team. Ozuna was. He was 1 for 3, and he homered against Hamels. You know, the guy that has the most at-bats, Matt Diaz. Diaz 44 at-bats, but Diaz is not in uniform tonight. The Marlins had to place him on the disabled list. And so Diaz goes on the disabled list, and Jordan Brown has been called up from AAA. Brown has joined the ball club. One-two pulled foul.
Yeah, I guess the knee has been bothering Matt Diaz for quite some time. It's really limited what he can do and what he could do when he was active for Mike Redmond. So Jordan Brown is healthy. He's a left-handed bat. And he's in the big leagues for the second time. He was with the Indians a little bit prior.
Dietrich muscles that one. Utley far to his left. No one's at first. Dietrich's going to get a hit.
Hamels did not cover first base.
As a result, Miami's got runners at the corners, and here comes Ozuna.
Once again, a good battle by Derek Dietrich against a left-hander. He got jammed a little bit, but watch Hamels. There's the ball. Hamels takes a look. He never goes over to cover first base, seeing the first baseman, Michael Young. Now, here's what he's thinking. If Ryan Howard's there, Ryan Howard probably doesn't go after that ball, and Utley takes it. So Hamels now has to work out of a jam. He's created himself a little bit.
One of the things that the Marlins have struggled with is putting themselves in a position like this early in an inning when there's nobody out or there's one out.
Hey, this is the same group that supplied the 2 runs yesterday. Echeverria with the hit, Dietrich with a hit. Now it's up to Marcell Ozuna.
And Ozuna had worked himself into a good count, a 2-1 count, when he got that fastball from Miley and placed it off the 386-foot sign in left center field. And he fouls it off out of play.
And Ozuna had a terrific 4-game series in Philadelphia. He was 8 for 16 against the Phillies in that series.
Remember, his family had just flown in. His sister had come over from New York. His father.
He had that 4-hit game.
Yeah. Dietrich's at first. Echeverria at third. And Ozuna fouls it off. Tino Martinez, Marlins hitting coach, talking about Ozuna yesterday. One of the things he tried to impart to Ozuna after his first at bat was he felt he was swinging a lot of first pitch fastballs, and even though they were around the plate, they weren't good pitches to hit. And Ozuna felt, hey, if it's a first pitch fastball and it's close, I better swing. And Martinez said, especially in your first at bat of a game, you only want to swing at a first pitch fastball if it's the exact spot you want it, because 2 things. Number one, if it's his fastball and his best pitch and it's on the black, you probably can't hit it. And number 2, you need to see what else he's got. You'd like to see his curveball. You'd like to see his changeup. And he's certainly done that here. Fastball rips it center field, base hit. And that's the difference. That's what Tino was talking about. Get deeper into your first at bat so you've seen everything.
Ideally, that first at bat, you'd love to see everything a pitcher has. Doesn't always work that way, but you'd love to see his breaking ball. You'd love to see a changeup. Hamill stayed with fastballs. He tried to crowd him, tried to come with another fastball, and Ozuna reacted to all of them and smashed that one up the middle. So a good at bat by Marcell Ozuna.
And Miami has a 1-0 lead. Now here's Ruggiano. And Hamels misses. There you go. You got two guys talking hitting. Dobbs and Tino. And I wouldn't be surprised, Tommy, if in 10 years or so, Greg Dobbs is a major league hitting coach somewhere. A guy who's certainly a student of hitting.
I would think if he wants to remain in the game, the door would be open for Greg Dobbs to be a hitting instructor somewhere.
Ruggiano 12 at bats against Hamels, a couple of hits, drives that one foul, and the count is 2-1.
It's really been a struggle for Justin Ruggiano on this homestand. 0 for 15 on the homestand. His average has gone down, but he's had some success against the Phillies.
Off speed, little tapper out towards Rollins. That's exactly what Hamels wanted. He wanted a double play ball to get out of the inning, and he does. But the Marlins get a run, and the kids do it again. In high definition, and it's brought to you by H.H. Gregg. In Marlins Park, the Phillies are here, and Cole Hamels stands in against Alex Sanabria, who has a 1-0 lead. Chase Utley, Dominic Brown, and Delman Young.
You know, the Marlins in the 8 games, this being game number 8 that they've played against the Phillies, the Marlins have scored first in 5 of the 8 games. So they've jumped out on top.
Utley healthy and productive again, and that's good news for Philly fans. 7 homers, 7 doubles. He's even stolen 5 bases.
We saw that in Philadelphia just by watching him run.
He's just 3 for 28, though, against the Marlins this year. Sanabria gets a strike. 0-2. Ryan Howard out. Carlos Ruiz out. Ruiz with a grade 2 hamstring strain. Same injury that Giancarlo Stanton is trying to come back from. Little tapper. Sanabria gets it and throws him out. So an out here in the second. You can experience Marlins baseball in luxury. Give your group the true VIP treatment. Legends and Fiesta Suites offer the suite experience on a single game basis and feature all-inclusive food and beverage menus, premium seats, big screen TVs, personal service, and a perfect view of the game. 1-877-MARLINS or go to marlins.com/group. Dominic Brown, off-speed pitch, and he tattoos it right field deep, and this ball game is tied. Wow. Dominic Brown, who had a big series up in Philly. He hit a pair of home runs in Philly. Homers to right. Brown homered in that series against Sanabria and against Nolasco, and he greets Sanabria with his 8th of the season.
Looked like the changeup, a floater, but it stayed high. When Sanabria keeps that changeup down, he has success, as you saw against Utley. Little chopper back to the mound. But when it's up in that area, you're going to pay the price. And for Brown, his 8th home run of the year. Dominic Brown now against Alex Sanabria is 3 for 3 with 2 home runs in his career.
Here's Delman Young, and he tattoos one into right center field. Ruggiano is there and makes a running catch. Gap to gap, Ruggiano is terrific. Good jump, good angle. He's like a right-handed version of Jim Edmonds without the dives.
Yeah, he gets there, makes it look smooth. Concentration the whole way. And he had to go a long ways to get that ball. Well done.
You buy that comparison?
Yeah, I like that. You mentioned that the other day. I forgot to tell you I liked it then.
Edmonds probably would have been off his feet and laid out for that one.
Laid out on the warning track.
In the air, Ruggiano a much more pedestrian pace to make this catch. But Dominic Brown hits one of the 7 pitches of Sanabria out and ties the game at 1. A solo homer, a 1-1 game, the Phils and the Fish. Chris Coughlin will step in against Cole Hamels. Coughlin getting the start, second straight start against a lefty. And he goes after the first pitch, bangs it to center field, hits it deep. Going back is Revere, reaches and he won't get it. It's off the wall and Coughlin races around second. On his way to third, he's got a triple.
We were talking, Rich, about a few of the hitters that have had a little history against Cole Hamels. Chris Coghlan is one of those. He's now 8 for 24 in his career against Hamels. A couple of those have been home runs, and now a triple just out of the reach and over the head of Ben Revere. He puts in a pretty good effort. He had a long way to go. It just caught the end of his glove. All that while Coghlan was racing around to third.
Now the question is, can the Marlins pick this run up? So Coghlan triples. Here's Nick Green. Middle infield's back. And Green fouls it into the glove of Eric Kratz. Jeff Mathis is next. You obviously want to get this done before Sanabia gets to the plate. And a simple ground ball up the middle, past the mound, will do the job. Green hits a pop-up down the third base line. Coghlan is tagging, and a slide. Galvis didn't catch it, and had he caught it, Coghlan would have scored easily.
Yeah, that's a ball as a runner. You're looking to see who's going to catch that. If the left fielder comes in and catches it, you're not able to score. You don't tag. But if it's one of the outfielders or infielders just moving toward the outfield, then you can go back and tag up. Coghlan was ready for that.
But the count is 0-2 on Green, who obviously is trying to avoid a strikeout. Hamels from the stretch. In on his hands, and it's popped up, and that's not going to get the job done. Galvis makes the catch. If you're watching the telecast, jump on the internet, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. We'll keep you up to date with the Marlins and all your other favorite Florida sports teams. Sun Sports and Fox Sports Florida. Now tomorrow on Email Twitter Tuesday, Frank Fort will eat his way around Marlins Park. Frank has already started to fast.
Yeah, he's been fasting for the last 12 hours.
He'll be undergo a juice cleanse in the morning and get ready to go tomorrow.
He's going to have Cuban sandwiches. He'll have maybe a Philly cheesesteak.
I would recommend the barbecue pork
Barbecue
sandwich.
pork, yeah, looks good.
Mathis is up, and Hamels is still thinking strikeout. Middle infield's creeping in now. And Mathis pops it up. And the Marlins have all but wasted a leadoff triple. Here comes Sanabia.
Well, unless the Marlins get a base hit or Sanabia reaches on an error, it's going to be something we've seen way too often. Man at third base, less than 2 out, and in this case, 2 shots to get him in, and not able to get the run in.
And so Sanabia, who's all of 1 for 14, stands in.
And it's a situation like this that could turn things in a positive direction for Cole Hamels, who's put a little pressure on himself this year with Roy Halladay out. New contract, very big contract. And talking to Charlie Manuel, he told us that he thinks some of that has to do with the pressure that he's put on him. This is a scouting report on Cole Hamels. 8-11 against the Marlins, but a pretty good ERA, 3.24. A plus changeup, very good. He has had, though, control issues this year.
Hamels' contract, 6 years, $144 million, and it goes through 2018. Ball in the dirt, but big payroll in that rotation is nothing new. The Phillies are paying Cliff Lee $25 million to pitch, not to pinch run as he did yesterday and got picked off.
That's a manager's nightmare.
In the ninth, it worked out with the back-to-back home runs. And Sanabia swings and misses, and Hamels pitches out of that leadoff triple from Chris Coghlan.
Miami Marlins Béisbol en Español está disponible por SAP.
In Miami tonight, Phillies and Marlins. Whether it's forward or backwards, it's 1-1. Marlins and Phillies tomorrow night. And remember, on Tuesdays, just get the Miami Herald. Take advantage of the Miami Herald's half-price Tuesday offer. Get up to 8 half-price tickets in Legend Silver, Baseline Reserve, Bullpen Reserve, or the Home Run Porch. Go to Marlins.com for more information.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it, Rich, with Frank eating his way around the ballpark tomorrow night. Where he has to go first tomorrow night is down to Taste of Miami for Cuban sandwiches because Jose Fernandez is pitching.
See, that I think Frank, people want to tune in about the 7th or 8th inning to see if Frank is still standing. Fastball, a strike to Eric Kratz. Kratz back behind the plate, and will get the bulk of the catching for the next month, you would think, with the hamstring strain for Carlos Ruiz. It's a real loss to the Phillies. People don't realize what an important offensive piece Ruiz has been over the last couple of years. Last year, Ruiz's slugging percentage was .540. 32 doubles, 16 homers. His on-base percentage was .394. And with runners in scoring position, Ruiz was a .368 hitter. And so, I mean, you don't think of him as one of the big guns in that lineup, especially with the addition of Michael Young, but he is.
Then you throw in his defense behind the plate.
To right. And Ozuna makes the catch. Well, Frank will be eating his way around Marlins Park. Craig will be watching. Right, Craig?
That's right. Although that Cuban food last Tuesday was great. Talk a little bit about the Phillies offense. Yes, it has gone a big change over the last few years. You go back to 2009 when they went to the World Series and lost to the Yankees. They had a very productive outfield for Charlie Manuel. I was talking with Charlie about this today. He had Victorino out in the outfield and center. Was a good average guy. That ball's hit well to the gap.
Hamels, Ozuna, and he's there and makes the catch.
That's the kind of power the Phillies have seen from their prior outfield, with Worth on that list, with Victorino on the list in 2009. Raul Ibanez had a big year. Worth hit 36 homers. Ibanez hit over 30. They drove in close to 100. You know what Charlie was saying today is they're not getting the production from their outfield. Yes, Dominic Brown, home run tonight, coming on a little bit, shows some pop. But you look at the averages, a far cry from where they were. None of these guys, other than Brown, maybe can really secure a spot. Ben Revere gives you some speed. Mayberry's in there. Nix, he's told me he's trying to get Delman Young going, but so far no go for Young. And that's been a big problem with the Philly offense, averaging over 5 runs a game back in 2009. And now he was lamenting today about 3.5 runs a game, 27th in the league so far. So we'll see what happens with the offense. And losing Ryan Howard tonight and Ruiz for maybe a month doesn't help either.
No, that's why they signed Delman Young. They were hoping he would add to that lack of offense.
One of the problems is they are not what's on the right. They are not young. They are a very old team. And so you're depending on veterans to replicate what they've done in previous years. I mean, Jimmy Rollins is having a Jimmy Rollins type season. He's hitting about 250 right now. He had 250 last year. You go down the lineup, Rollins is 34, Michael Young is 36, Utley's 34, Howard is 33, Carlos Ruiz 34. So while the Marlins in a lot of spots are really young, the Phils depend on veterans, and Ozuna gets tangled up in that line drive. Rollins is going to end up at second.
You talk about a difficult play. The one to Ozuna right there, a very difficult play for a corner outfielder. First of all, Rollins crushed this ball. It's sinking. He's got to go down with the glove turned the way it was. It got down a little bit too far, and it didn't sink as much as he thought because it caught him up on the heel of the glove. Not an easy play. It'll be a base hit, a double for Rollins.
So Rollins is 2 for 2. And a 2-out double here in the third. The Phils have 3 hits. The Marlins have 4. And Ben Revere, who bounced into a double play back in the first. Remember, though, Revere's been hot the last 2 weeks. And he takes outside. Revere's still looking for that elusive first big league home run.
I think Charlie would just be happy for him to continue hitting the way he has been.
Off the end of the bat. Those are the last 10 games. And even if you stretch it out the last 14 games, he's still over 400. Marlins' last 2 opponents on this homestand have moved on to different cities. Arizona is in Colorado tonight to take on the Rockies. And the Reds, remember the Reds sweeping the Fish? The Reds have a 3-0 lead in New York over the Mets. Change up, and Revere hits it in the air to center field. Ruggiano is there, and he makes the catch. And Sanabia strands Rollins out at second in a 1-1 game. Hernandez on the mound. Tomorrow night, Game 2, Phillies, Marlins. Marlins Live starts at 6:30 right here on Fox Sports Florida. And the Phillies will counter with Tyler Cloyd. Here tonight, 1-1 ball game. Miami had a great opportunity their last time up. Chris Coughlin with a leadoff triple. But Cole Hamels got a couple of pop-outs and a strikeout and kept it at 1-1. Now Echeverria with Polanco and Dietrich, and if anybody gets on Ozuna, Echeverria, Dietrich, and Ozuna all had hits in the first to get Miami their only run of the night.
One of the things that Echeverria has done so well, we've talked about his triples. All but one have been into right center field. Of his hits this year, if you total up all of his hits, 6 are to left, 10 are to center, and 7 are to right. So he's used the entire diamond.
Fastball in. His swing, when he goes to right center and to right, a little more compact, a little quicker to the ball. Fouls that one off. In the Reds lead over the Mets, Brandon Phillips has knocked in 2 and has padded his RBI total, overtaking Troy Tulowitzki now. 38 for Brandon Phillips. Tulowitzki, Rocky shortstop, has 37. And Hamels' best pitch tonight looks like the changeup as he gets Echeverria.
Well, and he sets it up so well with the fastball, too. The pitches before that were fastballs.
In the Twitterverse, this would be your polling place. As Polanco stands in. And here is the poll. Will Cole Hamels finish 2013 over 500? Hashtag Cole yes, hashtag Cole no. Polanco's ground ball finds Freddie Galvis at third, and he makes the throw. Tommy Hutton, if you were to tweet with that hashtag, which one would it be?
I would say I don't think so this year. Remember too, last year after 10 starts he was 8-1, and he comes into this his 10th start 1-6. But last year, this is where the big difference is. Last year he had 72 strikeouts, 14 walks at this time after 10 starts. And we mentioned this year 47 strikeouts, 24 walks. So big difference there.
Dietrich, fastball up. Dietrich singled back in the first.
And I think a lot of it too, Rich, depends on how the Phillies play. And you have to wonder if they'll give him the support so he can get back on track and get to 500. Because we talked about it in Philadelphia, the big three between Lee and Halladay, who's now in the DL, and Hamels, they're 7-12.
Into right, and on to make the catch is Delman Young, and Hamels has settled into this ball game. 1-1 after 3. Fourth 1-1 game. Alex Sanabia rubbing up the ball. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. A liner into left. Michael Young all over that breaking ball. Chris Coghlan picks it up. And Young with a leadoff hit to open up the fourth inning. We have a pair of San Diego starters. Alex Sanabia, actually from Chula Vista, very close to San Diego
San
proper.
Diego area.
That's right.
That'd be a good way.
And Cole Hamels, a San Diego guy as well.
Yeah, Cole Hamels out of Rancho Bernardo High School.
Sanabia out of Castle Park High School. Here's Utley. Utley, a Southern California guy as well. A UCLA product. Apparently he went there after a recruiting visit hosted by Jeff Conine. Actually, that would have had to have occurred when Utley was 10, but makes for a good story, doesn't it?
I believed you until I started doing the math.
Here's the 0-1. Utley lines it on a hop. Dietrich got it. Shovels. Echeverria. Quick turn. Got him. Nifty double play by the kids up the middle.
Boy, this ball is stung by Utley, and just to field it, then that nice backhand flip, and Utley was flying up the line. He didn't run like that in a couple of years. Great job by Dietrich. And then look at Echeverria. Concentration, and then unloads quickly. Alex Sanabia now, Rich, has induced 12 ground ball outs. And that, my friends, is the National League high.
Mike Leake with 10. The Marlins are on his list a few times. 4 for 4 now against Sanabia with 2 home runs. Is Dominic Brown.
I guess the interesting thing about that, you would think Leake throws a few two-seamers, but the other two guys, Zito and Sanabia, you would think, okay, a guy who induces lots of ground ball double plays is a sinker ball pitcher. But Sanabia gets the double plays because he has guys just out front a little bit on the changeup and has been able to do that.
Speaking of two-seamers and guys that sink it, the Texas Rangers today designated Derek Lowe for assignment. Ron Washington saying it just came down to numbers. They've got some young pitchers and they wanted space on the roster. Lowe was not in the rotation. He was the Rangers' long reliever. Delman Young gets tied up, fouls it off. Young hit a drive to the warning track in right center field, and that's a long ways in this ballpark. And Justin Ruggiano got there just in time to make a running catch. Ball and a strike.
Getting some good news from our crack staff out of Jupiter. Andrew Heaney, who started the year on the disabled list, Marlins' first-round pick last year, 2012, has started that game and has 9 strikeouts in 4 1/3 innings. And the word on Lomo, he's 1 for 2, Lomo is, and hustled from first to third on a shallow base hit. Looked good running. So crack staff helping us out from Jupiter.
Morrison was in the ballpark yesterday. It will be fun to have Morrison back. And one of the reasons is to get him around the young kids, get him around Dietrich and Ozuna and Echeverria. Runner goes, swing and a miss. Mathis throw, safe.
Say what, he made that a lot closer because of the quick throw. Brown got a tremendous jump. Dietrich may have clipped him just on the back leg before he reached the bag, but because of where the throw was, yeah, it looked like he did.
Well, he certainly didn't tag the bag with his left hand. Here's a definitive look.
Yeah, he's got him. He's out. He got him on the leg before the hand got there.
See, that's a bang-bang play. Now, Tommy Hutton, I asked you this a couple weeks ago. In 5 years, as replay has crept into the game a little more, is that a call that you would look at?
Then you might as well have guys out there that, like we had throw out the first pitch, robots. You're going to stop every time. I know it's not going to take a long time if you have someone upstairs that could tell you.
It took as long as it took us to look at the replay. And all they would do is zing down and say, hey, Bob, you missed it. He's out. And there's no argument. Bring on the energy team for the between-inning entertainment. 1-2. And Young swings and misses. And the inning is over. Sanabia renders the argument moot. Florida is brought to you by Honda. Visit your Honda dealer for great lease and finance deals on fuel-efficient Honda. Wet day, wet night in Miami. And a 1-1 game in the bottom of the fourth. Cole Hamels gets Marcell Ozuna, Justin Ruggiano, and Chris Coghlan.
Nice and cozy and dry in here.
Ozuna banged an RBI hit up the middle back in the first. Miami had an opportunity in the second when Coghlan led off with a triple. But the Fish couldn't score him. Hamels got Nick Green and Jeff Mathis to pop out and Alex Sanabia to strike out.
You talk about that nasty changeup. It's one of the best in baseball. And Hamels many times will throw it twice in a row, sometimes 3 times in a row. And remember, the base hit that Ozuna got last time up was fastball.
So he doubles up on the changeup, counts 1-2. Braves off to a good start against the Twins, 4-0. That's in the bottom of the third. That game is in Atlanta.
Dan Uggla trying to get on track with a home run in that one.
3-run home run for Uggla, his 8th of the season. Ozuna pulls it foul.
A model of consistency.
Toyota trend. Phillies as starters last year, and Tommy pointed out the numbers of the big three, not nearly what they were last year. Not only are the big three just 7 and 12, swing and a miss at a changeup, but overall the Phillies are 8 and 17 in games that Hamels, Lee, and the now disabled Halladay have started.
Hamels, Rich, knew that he would be in a low-scoring game. His 2 starts against the Marlins this year, he lost a 2-1 game, had a no decision, and then he lost, was the pitcher of record, the 2-0 game. So those are the 2 games he's pitched. He's 0-1 this year against the Marlins, but he's pitched well each of those games.
Ruggiano fouls one back. R.A. Dickey got a win today as the Jays beat the Rays 7-5. Marlins and Rays. Tommy eagerly anticipating the Citrus Series matchup, ready to get his Citrus Series gear out of the closet. A Citrus Series that's been dominated by the Rays of late.
Lately it has. Early on, Marlins dominated. Lately, it's been the Rays. I'll have to get my game face on for Dwayne Stats and Brian Anderson.
I think Dwayne and I are going to checkers before the ball game. Ruggiano strikes out. It's the Marlin Fan Express. It's a VIP bus to a Marlins home game for a group of 50. Look at this. Now, Tommy, doesn't this look like fun? That could be you and 50 of your closest friends or total strangers, and they'll soon be your friends.
And who knows, sometimes it's better if they're strangers.
Call the Marlins group sales department.
But that does look like fun.
It does. Here's Coghlan now. You really have to admire what Chris Coghlan has done over the last 3 weeks. In a limited role as a pinch hitter, Coghlan got his groove back. He started to line balls all over the ballpark. And now Mike Redmond is putting him in. And, you know, he gets 2 starts here, and they're both against really good lefties. Wade Miley of the Diamondbacks and Cole Hamels of the Phillies. And Coghlan yesterday doubled off of Miley, tripled off of Hamels tonight.
And you know what? In his Rookie of the Year season in 2009, he hit over 300 against lefties.
Coghlan with another hit, left field line drive. He's starting to look like that Rookie of the year now. It's starting to come back, it looks like, now that he's fully healthy and the legs are under him.
And we know what can happen when he gets hot. Because remember, in that Rookie of the Year season, he had 47 hits in August. He had 53 hits in September. hit about 385 for those 2 months.
Coughlin is 2 for 2 against Hamels. And here's Nick Green. And that one gets away. Coughlin to second. And he thinks better of third. And that was a good decision to make. He was able to take a big turn because there was nobody around second base. Rollins had lined up the throw to third.
Just a lackadaisical throw from Hamels. Little peek over his shoulder by Coughlin. Right there. And then he looks up. See his peek? Couple of peeks. He sees Joe Espada with a stop sign.
But it's a smart play by Coughlin, Tommy, because Rollins was way over by third to line up a throw. Coughlin could take the biggest turn he wanted just in case the throw was offline or just in case something happened during the throw.
Because it's going to take Ben Revere from center field a long time to get there.
That's right. He's in scoring position now with 2 outs. And Green swings and misses. That's 0-2. It's a big sequence for Hamels in the second. Coughlin tripled. Green popped to third. Mathis popped to short. Sanabria struck out.
We talked earlier about the Phillies being a good defensive team. They're in the top 3. They've made just 18 errors. And that was only the second error by a Philly pitcher.
The Diamondbacks, who just left here, are the best in Major League Baseball. Just a dozen errors. And Green strikes out. And Coughlin left there at second. So, 1-1. We're back for more after this sports injury prevention message from the Cleveland Clinic, Florida. The Phillies runs per game. It has steadily declined since 2009. In 2009, they were beaten in the World Series by the Yankees, but look where they are right now. 27th overall, and just a few ticks ahead of the Marlins. Marlins in the basement in the National League. Alex Sanabria. Freddie Galvis runs up to bunt and takes outside. One of the adjustments that as a broadcaster or a writer or even a fan you have to make when you're talking about stats is it used to be in the National League, if you're last in the league, you are 16th. Now it's 15. It just seems odd.
Well, it was a good note that Craig had earlier talking about when you look back at the Phillies when they had that outfield of Ibanez, Victorino, and Jason Worth. That was very productive.
That one fouled out of play. Galvis, the switch hitting infielder. Charlie Manuel really likes him. Liked him a lot yesterday when he took a roll this Chapman out and went back to back. Did you see the note on that, the finish of that game? Galvis following up Eric Kratz's homer. The last time the Phillies hit back-to-back homers to walk off was in the Baker Bowl in 1922.
So obviously a very rare feat for any team.
That's incredible.
Baker Bowl was before Connie Mack. Connie Mack to Veterans Stadium to Citizens Bank Park. Alex Snobby has made some good pitches tonight.
Here's a 3-2 pitch. Galvis swings and misses.
That's one of them.
Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Well, guys, that's a very good start here to the 5th inning for Alex Sanabia, and this has been a bugaboo for him this year after his first start when he went at 6 innings and allowed no runs. The first 4 innings this year, his ERA is just a little over 3, but after the 5th inning, from the 5th inning on, that ERA has jumped up to 9 runs ERA. That's 13 earned runs in 13 innings, 12 earned runs on the left in the first 32 innings. His career, same story, about 3.3 ERA first 4, and after that, up to 6.5 runs. Talked to Mike Redmond about this. He said this is about adjustments, maybe not showing as many pitches early in the game and bringing them a little later in the game, second or third at bat. This is the kind of thing you see a lot in baseball. Second, third at bat, the hitters make adjustments. Now it's up to Sanabia to make adjustments himself.
All right, thank you, Craig. And here is Kratz, and he swings and misses.
Well, 2 good breaking balls. Kratz, an excellent fastball hitter. Obviously, that pitch from Chapman yesterday, a fastball. But the key for Sanabia tonight, no walks. He came into the game 23 walks in 45 innings. But tonight, no walks. He's mixed the ball around. Another good pitch. See, a guy's a good fastball hitter. Don't give him a fastball. If you get ahead with breaking balls, Kratz had no chance.
And so Sanabia gets Kratz. Here's the weird deal about the that note on the Kratz and Galvis back-to-back with Galvis walk-off against Chapman yesterday. It hadn't been done for the Phillies since the Baker Bowl in 1922. I went further down the note, and it said that Butch Henline hit a solo shot to tie the game, and then Cliff Lee followed with the game-ending homer. I said to myself, oh, wait a minute. Cliff Lee was involved in yesterday because he came in to pinch run in the ninth and got picked off before Kratz homered and before Galvis walked off. And so the odd thing is, I thought that was a typo.
There was a Cliff Lee involved.
There was a Cliff Lee. There was another guy named Cliff Lee who played for the Phillies back in 1922. Cliff Lee played 8 years in the big leagues. He hit 300. His OPS, although they had not discovered the OPS back then, was 806.
Didn't mean a thing back then.
38 homers in his career. Hamels rolls it on a broken bat out to Echeverria, who throws to first in time, and a 1-2-3 inning for Sanabia. Halfway through, 1-1 in Miami.
see a quick shot of Sanabia's reactions. Watch his reactions. He knows where his shortstop is. It's a ground ball. Do I get it? No, I'm going to let Echeverria. Let the sure hands take it. If you have an Echeverria or a Cookie Rojas out there, let the middle infielder get it. Good job by Sanabia.
We do have a Cookie Rojas.
Suerte contra nuestro equipo.
See, there he is.
Quedan lanzados contra los peces, pero vamos a ver si esta noche le
Like
podemos
magic. Hi, guys.
What's
Hey,
up,
Tommy,
Rich?
Richie,
Tommy,
how are you?
Hey, we're good. Good.
What's up?
Nice pitching tonight. We like it.
Yes, sir. I'll tell you, we've seen very good pitching the last 3 or 4 games here.
Yeah, Wade Miley yesterday was outstanding for the Diamondbacks. And how about Ricky Nolasco? 8 innings, gave up a run and struck out 11. Here's Jeff Mathis against Cole Hamels.
Well, it's good to see. I think Chuck Hernandez has done a great job with all the pitcher of our ball club, and it's good to see that these kids are, so far doing the best they can. No question.
Cookie, we were just talking about old ballparks in Philly. You didn't play? Did you play in the Baker Bowl?
No,
I played in
Shibe Park.
No, Connie Mack.
Connie Mack.
Yeah.
And that was downtown.
Hey,
right?
Rich, Cookie's not that
21st and Lehigh.
That's a foul ball. Barely foul. 21st and Lehigh, huh?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Cookie, I have a question. You mentioned Chuck. Did you have any history with Chuck Hernandez? Did you know him at all before he came on?
He was with Detroit. He was with the California Angels.
Yeah.
We had very good relations in the past. Very good man. I think that it's good to see him up here in the big leagues, and I believe that he can pass a lot of experience to these young players. And he's got a great character about the way he goes about his job, and I think that's good for the ball club.
Mathis busts his bat on a 1-2 pitch.
Guys, I saw that Frank tomorrow has a tough assignment. He's going to eat around the park, huh? I'm recommending or suggesting that for the next Email Tuesday here at Marlins Park, I saw Giancarlo doing this treadmill over by the U-Health. Might need to put Frank in that treadmill.
Yeah, that's it's the zero gravity girdle. And that's what Giancarlo's been running in. Here's another 1-2 to Mathis, and Hamels runs in. All right, guys, have a good show tonight.
All right, you guys. Let's see if we can win this second one in a row.
All right, Raul Stryker, Cookie Rojas, Cole Hamels in a 1-1 game in the bottom of the 5th here in Miami tonight. Look out. A strikeout and a bat that ends up in the seats. And so Mathis strikes out. Hamels on a nice run right now.
Yeah, early in the game, we talked about his problem with walks this year. Well, no walks for Hamels, and he has 6 strikeouts.
What does a zero gravity treadmill look like?
You ask.
With the girdle? Well, there's the girdle, and you hop on.
It looks like a little inner tube you could wear for the swimming pool. A little waist floaty.
Look at that. The anti-gravity treadmill. And there is Stanton. Here's the pitch to Sanabia. Craig, you've got more on that?
Well, talking to Sean Cunningham, the trainer you saw in that picture, what it does is it eliminates it through a computer. They can eliminate 30-40% of your body weight and make the stress a lot less. So Stanton, who goes 250, when he goes through that, he may only be 180, believe it or not. It's a quick way to lose 70 pounds.
But that's what girdles.
We'd all like to do that.
That's what. That's what girdles were designed to do back in the 20s.
Yeah, well, for a different reason. So that's what he goes on there, and then with a computer, they actually set a program up. It's innovative, only the last few years, and it really helps him get a little workout in with a lot less stress on that hamstring. Did run a little bit today through. It's great to see him back doing those things, and that should help him. And as he told us jokingly, he's going to start jogging against the real gravity pretty soon. He did a little today, but he's going to get into that as he moves along.
Marlins sure could use him, certainly in the lineup. Danny Echeverria is up. Hamels has struck out 5 of the last 6 that he's faced. Echeverria has singled, and he has struck out, and he drops down a bunt that is foul. Echeverria, along with his fellow rookies, Derek Dietrich, Marcell Ozuna, that trio instrumental in the comeback win against Arizona yesterday, and they teamed up for the only run of the night for Miami tonight.
And by the way, Rich, you always mention our tremendous graphics technician Ken Lee. How about a happy birthday to the lovely Rona Wise?
Good timing. With 2 strikes and 2 outs, you just got it in there. Nicely done.
I hesitated with 2 outs.
It's a veteran move by Tommy Hutton. Brings you an in-game update. The box score, a run on 5 hits for each. Cole Hamels has punched out 7. Alex Sanabia hasn't walked anybody. Chris Coughlin has banged down a couple of hits, including a triple, and it was Dominic Brown's 8th home run that has provided the Fightin' Phils their only run of the night.
Rich, for ever to be known as the Parra home run. Since the Gerardo Parra home run, the Marlins pitching in 22 innings has given up 14 hits, 2 runs, and has compiled 21 strikeouts. Of course, a great 8 innings of Ricky Nolasco yesterday.
Sanabia misses up. Jimmy Rollins has a couple hits. Singled in the first, doubled in the third.
And he came into this game this year against the Marlins 2 for 20. he's equaled that hit output tonight.
Both he and Utley had struggled against the Fish this year, which is rare.
Utley this year against the Marlins 2 for 16.
Sanabia changes speeds and gets a strike on Rollins. Jimmy still has some magic, especially in that glove. He won his 4th Gold Glove last year. Played in 156 games last year, the most since 2009. Pops this one up. Dietrich runs in front of Green and takes Green and say, hey, wait, I used to be a middle infielder. Not tonight, you aren't.
That's good. You got a veteran over there in Nick Green, even though he's not a veteran at first base, and you have the rookie at second. You know, we've been talking about Sanabia, and I think this is an important start for him. You mentioned earlier, Rich, last 5 starts, 0-5, has given up a lot of base runners between walks and hits. And I think this start here tonight's important for him. There's some guys getting healthy, and you never know.
Echeverria, quick release, and he gets Revere. Michael Young comes to the plate. Here's Michael Young. Young hitting third. Driving it into right center field. Ozuna can't get it. It's by him, and it goes to the wall, and Young will get a double out of it. Good hustle by Ruggiano. That's Michael Young in a nutshell right there. And he's done so much of that in his career. Hit the ball on a line, this time to right center field.
Well, he just has that line drive swing. He had so many hits like that, closing in on 2,300 hits in his career. Just out of the reach of Ozuna.
It's been a tough night out there for Ozuna. Remember, he had that tumbling try on the Rollins double, and that one just eluded him. And Sanabia faces Utley. Reds have tied that game, or the Mets rather have tied the game against the Reds. It's 3-3 up in New York, and that's now in the fourth. Marlon Byrd with a 3-run homer, and as we told you, Brandon Phillips with a 2-run double to highlight both for the Reds and the Mets. Alex Sanabia, all of 24. That off-speed pitch is pulled foul.
Yes, a couple of big outs. He just needs to get one, but he has Utley up there, and then Brown, who's 2 for 2 tonight, 4 for 4 with a couple of home runs in his career against Sanabia.
Brown is waiting. Oh-2. Utley takes out. Chase Utley, now 34. A fan favorite.
Smile, Rich.
She's looking for Utley, not me. 11th season as a Phil. He's in the last year of a contract. It pays him $15 million. 5-time All-Star. He's one of those guys where and it did hit him. Ball clipped him. Utley's on his way to first. You wonder if Utley will finish his career as a fighting.
You know, his last 3 years, he's averaged just 100 games, about 375 ABs, 13 home runs, 50 RBIs. So the knees, the hip, over the last 3 years really have taken a toll. But never afraid to be hit by a pitch. It's Chase Utley.
Or to test for Sanabia. Tommy pointed out Brown's success against the young right-hander. He hits a fly ball towards the line and left. That's trouble. Coughlin in full flight. He's there, and he makes a tumbling catch. Chris Coughlin saves a couple of runs. He goes a long way to rob Dominic Brown. Marlins and Phillies. The series wraps up on Wednesday night. And you know what? Kids eat free. Now, this is not to be confused with Frankfurt Eats His Way Around the Ballpark, which is tomorrow night. Wednesday, kids eat free. All kids in attendance will receive a voucher for a free KM Beef Frank, a bag of Frito-Lay chips, and a small Pepsi or Aquafina water. Go to Marlins.com for more information.
Now, do you think, Rich, that Frank might bring some stuff by here?
Depends.
A couple of snacks, maybe?
It depends. I know that he'll be carrying the Fox credit card around as he goes from place to place.
They have a credit card, huh?
They do.
I did not know that.
And they'll have to extend the limit tomorrow for Frank. That's tomorrow night on email and a Twitter Tuesday. How's Frank going to tweet with his hands full of food? Hamels turns and fires Polanco, sends it right back up the box into center field. But Miami has a leadoff hit here in the bottom of the 6th inning. In a 1-1 game, well pitched certainly between Hamels and Alex Sanabia. As Polanco arrives at first, so does our Cholula Hot Sauce Spotlight player out of the Dominican Republic. His son's godfather, that's some godfather, Albert Pujols. And he's the only player in baseball history to win multiple Gold Gloves at multiple infield positions.
His son gets to that age where he needs a little batting instruction. If he doesn't want to listen to dad, he can listen to his godfather.
Derek Dietrich fouls it back. So Polanco's in first. Now it's Dietrich, Ozuna, and Ruggiano. And Utley steps out, or rather, Hamels steps off. Dietrich steps out. It's funny because we've been listening to Perry Hill make the comparison between Utley and Dietrich as far as what they look like defensively. And for Perry Hill, it's Utley of 7-8 years ago when he just got to the big leagues back 05-06. And obviously, it's Dietrich modern day. Both bigger second baseman. That's where Dietrich's playing now. He was a shortstop in college. Neither looks real graceful out there, but as Perry pointed out, it doesn't matter. All that matters is you get to the right spot and that you make all the plays.
And we've seen Dietrich make all the plays.
Dietrich swings and misses. And Hamels with a live fastball gets a strikeout.
Number 8 for Cole Hamels tonight.
Here comes Ozuna. Singled in the first, struck out in the fourth. And a changeup floats outside.
A couple of other times this year, Hamels has had 8 strikeouts. One more, it'll be a season high for him, and it kind of tells you how his game is tonight with the 8 strikeouts and no walks.
Pitch number 79 is fouled back and out of play. It will really be interesting to see what happens if the Phillies are under 500 and not near the top of the East within shooting distance. Look at Rich Doobie, the pitching coach of the Phils. If they're not within distance of the Nationals or the Braves or whoever's at the top, looks like those two teams, will the Phillies suddenly become sellers? And if they are sellers, whom might they be selling?
Well, they have Hamels locked in for a long time, and he's just 29, so he's not going to be on that list.
What about the veteran guys? I mean, we talked about Utley last year of his deal.
Certainly Cliff Lee.
And Lee has a contract that runs through 15, and he's owed $25 million a year. I would think Ryan Howard would be awful tough to move. Not sure that they would want to move Jimmy Rollins. Ozuna swings and misses. And Hamels is really on a nice run right now. 9 strikeouts for the 3-time All-Star.
Yeah, it's a season high for Cole Hamels. The changeup has been there. Remember, for Ozuna, his base hit, his RBI single in the first inning was fastball, and he's seen a ton of changeups ever since.
I think if you're Ruben Amaro Jr., you're hopeful that the Phillies are within shooting distance. So rather than figure out which pizzas you're going to sell, you're looking for people you could add. I mean, Charlie Manuel certainly would like to be in that spot.
The people you talked about with the large contracts, you're not going to get much for because you're just going to be happy if somebody takes on the contract.
Ruggiano to right field. Delman Young, it's over his head and it's off the wall. And racing for third is Polanco. Round third coming home, and he's gonna score on a ball that just exploded to right field. Fooled Delman Young and really took off like a rocket. Ruggiano with a bolt of a double, and it's 2-1.
Ruggiano in his career, his first 6 games against the Phillies, he was 8 for 16. Lately, they've handled him. Hamels doesn't handle him here, and this ball jumps over Young's head, who primarily was a designated hitter last year, but you know what? I don't think that ball was catchable for any right fielder. And Polanco, with 2 out, running all the way, comes in to score and put the Marlins up. Boy, and that base hit, Ruggiano snapped an 0 for 18.
And now you've got Coghlan, who has such great career numbers against Hamels, and is 2 for 2 tonight with a triple and a single. If memory serves, the 2 home runs that Coghlan hit off Hamels came in the same game.
Same game, yeah. Right now, Hamels is frustrated. He's in another close game. His offense has not supplied him any runs. And here in the 6th inning, he's just given up a go-ahead base hit to put the Marlins ahead.
He's punched out 9, all of them swinging. He's 2-1 on Coghlan, who overall now is 9 of 25, 2 doubles, a triple, and 2 homers. Pitch number 3 was in the zone. That's well in. Green's on deck. Hamels has handled him easily the first 2 times up. And first base is open. Good breaking ball.
Not only has Chris Coghlan handled Cole Hamels, Chris has handled the Phillies. He came into this game a .304 career hitter against Philadelphia.
Two-1 ball game on the Ruggiano RBI double. He's at second. 3-2 coming to Coghlan. And it stays at 3-2.
think Coughlin has the more consistent bubbles going too now. A couple of hits.
Better swings, better bubbles. 3-2. Got him. This time, Hamels gets him. 10 strikeouts. All have been swinging. But Justin Ruggiano gives Miami a 2-1 lead. Thanks to that man, Justin Ruggiano, whose RBI double up the right field wall. Chased home Placido Polanco. Wendy's, now that's better. An 0 for 18 slide before that double.
It's nice to break that 0 for 18 with a big base hit, too. One that puts your club ahead.
Delman Young, Freddie Galvis, Eric Kratz for the Phillies in the 7th. Alex Sanabia to work with a breaking ball. One of the oddities about Sanabia, this is his 9th start. He has a decision in each of his 8 starts. You don't see that in the modern game as you did long ago. Guys making 6-inning starts. Oftentimes games are decided by middlemen. But Sanabia is 2-6. He has lost his last 5 starts.
He's also treading in waters he's never treaded this year, entering the 7th inning. He's gone 6 innings, 5 of his 8 starts, 6 or more. He's gone 6 2/3, so he has gone into 7th, but he's not completed 7 innings. Still has good live fastball. I think his breaking ball has helped him tonight too.
What has helped him immeasurably tonight is that he hasn't walked anybody. He had walked 23 in 45 innings. And that's one of the things that Jeff Mathis talked about before the start. Command that fastball and get ahead. Two foul back and out of play. Dodgers are in Milwaukee. They have a run early, a 1-0 lead for Clayton Kershaw. Out on the West Coast, the Nationals and the Giants match up. Is that a Zach Duke start tonight?
A couple of guys with ERAs, I believe, in the 8s. Zach Duke and Ryan Vogelsong, who's really struggled this year for the Giants.
Cardinals are in San Diego. Shelby Miller, Jason Marquis Here it's been Sanabria and Hamels in a well-pitched game and a 2-1 Miami lead.
Delman Young giving Alex a heck of a battle, but still very efficient with his pitch count. 74 pitches.
Echeverria around the ground ball and in time to get Young.
We see Alex Sanabria with the fastball and changeup, but tonight he's gotten some hitters fooled, and that time he got a ground ball out with the little breaking ball that he uses. And it's good to show the hitter that third pitch, and he's had success with it tonight, I think.
9 ground ball outs for Sanabria. And as you pointed out, he's a guy that has had the ability to get double plays. He's the leader in the National League in double plays induced with a dozen, 2 tonight. Galvis is over 2. He's flied out, struck out. Mathis out for a quick chat.
Well, a couple of misses, a couple of pitches out of the strike zone, and that gets Mathis to the mound and Chuck to the phone.
In a 1-run game, in, as you pointed out, waters he's not tread in before. Managers and pitching coaches have their radar up pretty good. Strike, it's 2-1.
Yeah, the 6 2/3 that Alex pitched was back on April 27th, right here against the Cubs.
There's that changeup. He is not afraid to throw it at any time, any count to anybody.
And you know that Freddie Galvis figured, well, he's going to go fastball. He doesn't want to go 3-1 and miss with an off-speed pitch. And that's how badly he fooled him.
1 out here in the 7th. Back foot breaking ball.
Don't be surprised to see the change up here. 3-2.
Stayed with a fastball, fouled it back. Did you see the reports out of Los Angeles today that the Dodgers, Ned Colletti, their general manager, giving Don Mattingly his vote of confidence?
I'm not sure how many votes of confidence Ned Colletti's gotten though lately.
That's a good point. Changeup is up. Galvis walks. And the Phillies have a base runner. Go to any Marlins Wednesday game and you can save up to 60% with the Chevron Crazy 8 ticket offer. Fill up at a participating Chevron to get $8 home run porch or $18 home plate box tickets. I've never stopped to watch the video here. It's entertaining. Visit your local Chevron or marlins.com/Chevron for details. Restrictions apply.
You got to do that once in a while.
It's hard to read and watch at the same time.
A visit from Chuck Hernandez to just kind of settle Alex down. First walk that he's issued in this game. But also with Ryan Webb down there loosening up, it gives him a chance to throw a few more pitches. The home plate umpire Sam Holbrook out there to speed things up.
To clarify that story out of Los Angeles, Ned Colletti, in his words, said that Mattingly is doing fine despite a team being in last place with the highest payroll in baseball history. And Colletti said that his perspective hasn't changed. He's done talking about it. That was in Milwaukee. Says it's easy to blame just one person. He expects better performance from the Matt Kemps, the Adrian Gonzalez, the Carl Crawfords, and the Andre Ethiers. Kratz fouls it back. Well, you can't fire the players. You can't fire Matt Kemp or Adrian Gonzalez or Carl Crawford or Andre Ethier. They all have long-term deals with big money.
Decision time for Charlie Manuel. Should the inning continue. Hamels is on deck right now.
Lance Nix.
He's got a bat, and there has been activity in their bullpen.
You know, when the Phillies were healthy and they were rolling, they've had such a terrific run in Philadelphia. You talk to Major League scouts, you talk to people around the game, and they'll point out that one of the things that Charlie Manuel had is his best players, the guys that were making the big coin and that were in the lineup every day, Rollins, Utley, on the mound, a guy like Moyer who was there. They were guys that were not afraid to get in your face if you weren't doing it and you weren't doing it correctly.
And I'm not so sure the Dodgers have that.
And that's my point. That's what many.
Matt Kemp's not that type. Adrian Gonzalez is not that type. Crawford isn't going to get into guys' face. Ethier's very laid back.
And that's what many have pointed out. They've said the teams that have the big payrolls that have success, the Yankees a great example. They've had a Jeter, they had a Posada, they had a Rivera. They had guys that if you weren't doing it the Yankee way, you heard about it. 1-2 pitch. Boston, think about Boston when Boston was really good. Pedroia, Big Poppy.
Big Poppy. Big Poppy comes over to your locker and says something, you listen.
Amen. Roy Halladay. I mean, you don't think a young starter like Kyle Kendrick would listen to something Roy Halladay would say, or a Moyer, or even a Lee, or even now that Hamels is established. And that the run that the Phillies have been on, remember, 5 consecutive National League East titles, a World Championship, another trip to the World Series where they lost to the Yankees.
See
3-2.
See what Charlie does on this 3-2 pitch with 1 out if he has his runner at first, Galvis, on the move.
Galvis from first. Off he goes. Hit a sort of a half swing.
Well, Pratt's not expecting that breaking ball, 3-2.
There's an old saying, and now in the internet age, when most people get their newspapers online, it doesn't apply, but there used to be a, whatever city you were in Miami it would be you're swinging a wet Herald. In Philadelphia it would be you're swinging a wet Inquirer. San Francisco, he's swinging a wet Chronicle. Just a wet newspaper. That type of swing. Runner goes. Liner into right field. It's a base hit, and Galvis doesn't break stride. He's on his way to third, and the Phillies have something going here, and certainly they're going to pinch hit here with runners at the corners in a 1-run game in the 7th. Galvis and Kratz.
Well, we talked about how good of a fastball hitter Kratz is. Sanabia tried a few things, and he finally resorted to that fastball, but a good swing by Kratz chasing Galvis over to third. That's going to be all for Alex Sanabia.
So Mike Redmond's coming out, and he's looking for certainly something on the ground and a chance to get out of this inning. Lance Nix is the announced hitter. And the Marlins going to go to the pen. Sanabia leaves. Ryan Webb enters. 2-1 ball game in Miami tonight. Fernandez. Tomorrow night, Jose Fernandez. Marlins live at 6:30. Tyler Cloyd going for the Phils. Now tonight it was Alex Sanabia against Cole Hamels, and both come out of the ball game in the same move, with Ryan Webb replacing Sanabia and Lance Nix replacing Hamels. And Webb, in a one-run game with one out, is looking for a ground ball. Nix is looking for something he can drive.
Yeah, and drive he did against John Roush back on April 14th. Big pinch hit home run gave the Phillies a 2-1 win.
Nix, as a pinch hitter, leads all of Major League Baseball in hits and with homers. He's hit 2 homers, has 7 hits. So he's had a very nice year doing something that Tommy Hutton used to do in Philly.
There you go.
And you were built just like that, Tommy.
Yeah, built just like Lance Nix. That's right.
My partner was ripped in Philly. He had to borrow Greg Luzinski's sleeves.
It's a different time.
Galvis at third. Kratz at first. 1-1. There's a fly ball, right field, not too deep, and Ozuna's got a gun. Galvis is tagging. Ozuna's got it. Galvis is holding. And what a great throw by Ozuna. Phillies got a load of Ozuna in Philadelphia. Remember, he played in that series and had some great throws there. Though that one, with him charging in shallow right, was, I don't want to say it was an easy throw, but
the other thing he did, too, he wanted to make sure he got it all the way in the air, just in case Galvis decided to tag up. He already has 3 assists this year, and by keeping it low enough and getting it to home plate quick enough, he also made Kratz stay at first base, too.
Now it's Rollins. Broken bat. Dietrich has it, and Ryan Webb pitches out of a 1st and 3rd and 1-out spot. What a terrific year for Webb. What a nice night for Sanabia. Marlins in the 7th.
Yeah, remember the youngsters took over early in the game. Echeverria with a base hit. How about his first career stolen base? Stole it quite easily, and then comes in to score on Marcelo Ozuna's shot up the middle. Marlins had a 1-0 lead. That was erased quickly when Dominic Brown took one deep off Alex Sanabia. Then the pitchers took over. It was both Hamels and Sanabia until Polanco was able to send a single into center in the 6th inning. and came in to score on Ruggiano's opposite field two-base hit, breaking it 0 for 18. Marlins with a 2-1 lead. They got some great relief work from Ryan Webb. Sanabi has been fantastic. Hamels, pretty terrific himself. Hamels leaves the game 6 innings with 10 strikeouts.
All of them swinging. And here's Nick Green. And the Phillies have gone to their bullpen.
Justin DeFreitas.
DeFreitas has had a nice start to his season. This just his 5th appearance. Green, left field, deep. Brown at the wall makes the catch. And there's one out. And we check in with Craig Minervini.
Cliff Floyd had his first ever bowling tournament for a great cause, raising some $25,000 for an area charity yesterday while we were all working. Look at this maneuvering by Cliff Floyd. He's ready for the PBA. He's got that little hook action. He told me he bowled between a 180 and 200. He moved within a bunch of teams. He had his mates like Louis Castillo there, Edgar Renteria, Gary Sheffield, a who's who, some Dolphins, Patrick Surtain, Sam Madison from yesteryear, Lorenzo Hampton and others, Rondell White as well. And Cliff said, by the way, his team won the tournament. But they raised $25,000 for handy guys serving the needs of some area needy children. That's a great job by him. Also, tip of the cap to our old friend Nancy Olson for helping Cliff out with the tournament. Hopefully, guys, next year will do it not at the same time as the Marlins game, so we can all go have a little fun, help out too.
I look forward to that.
Any word as to the best dressed bowler was?
I think it was. Oh, take this one. Right.
Freddie Galvis can't handle that ground ball from Jeff Mathis, and he's aboard with one out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. It's an error on the Phillies' third baseman.
The best dressed, the most representative of a bowler was Frank Fort. We heard with his. I don't know if we have a shot of it. Maybe we can come back to that. We'll check back.
Well, this ball climbs up the arm of Galvis. So Mathis reaches on the error by the third baseman. And there were a couple of choices for Mike Redmond, but once Mathis reached, he decided to go with Greg Dobbs.
With a couple of lefties in a row, Dobbs has had a chance to catch his breath. His bat has started to warm up coming off that California road trip. Dobbs, certainly the job description for Dobbs was as the #1 pinch hitting weapon when the season started. And he takes a fastball for a strike just to show you how his job has changed. This is only his 5th pinch hitting appearance for the Marlins this year, and that's out of injury and attrition. Marlins, the curse of the first baseman.
And in contrast to when Nix flied out, it was his 23rd pinch hit appearance.
From Morrison to Mahoney to Kochman. Am I missing anybody at first? Here's the 0-1. That one lined back out of play. Logan Morrison, by the way, 2 for 3. A couple of hits. Both of them singles tonight in his rehab game in Jupiter. A.J. Ramos in Miami's bullpen in a 2-1 game in the bottom of the 7th. Dobbs hanging in there, fouls it back.
DeFreitas has a live fastball. He can get to 95, 96.
Oh, and 2. Dobbs fights that one off, shoots it foul to Freitas. out of Ventura Junior College, a Southern California guy. '11th round pick back in 2007. Dobbs takes down low. Of course, Greg Dobbs' best year as a big leaguer came in a Phillies uniform. It was 2008, the World Championship season. He hit .301, and in 16 postseason games, Dobbs was 7 for 21. The Phillies beat the Rays in the World Series.
A lot of big hits for the Phillies that year for Dobbs.
Mathis at first. Dobbs takes out.
He's having a good AB, too. He's seen the fastball. He's fouled off a couple of curveballs.
DeFreitas ready. And his 2-2. And he got him. Dobbs went after the fastball.
Yeah, he's going to be mad at himself for chasing a pitch to the ball. Pitch had some movement, tailed away, but out of the strike zone. He's just upset with himself because he had a pretty good at bat up until that swing.
Here's Echeverria. He's 1 for 3. And DeFreitas with a breaking ball for a strike. Singled, stole a bag, and scored back in the first. Into center. Ben Revere has it, and DeFreitas works a scoreless 7th inning. To the 8th, 2-1 Miami. It's the 8th. A look at tomorrow's pitching matchup brought to you by Chevron. Tyler Cloyd, Jose Fernandez. And Fernandez' ERA continues to melt down to 3.48. And he takes aim at the Phillies.
Lord, remember that outing in Philadelphia for Jose Fernandez. 7 innings, gave up just 1 hit to the Phillies lineup. Now it's up to A.J. Ramos as he comes in to work this 8th inning.
He started twice already against the Phils. A little old school. Ramos. Remember, it was Ryan Webb who got the last 2 outs of the 7th inning. Alex Sanabia 6 1/3. And here is Ben Revere.
Yeah, this is a situation where you really have to guard for a possible bunt with Revere's speed, leading the inning off, trailing by 1 run. You know the Phillies want him to get on base. It's been an interesting A.J. Ramos. You see the stuff is there. Every once in a while he'll give you a really good inning. Then he'll have some troubles. You just haven't seen that consistent pitching every outing, but you know it's there because he has the stuff.
And he strikes out.
There's a pretty good pitch there.
Revere to open up the 8th. Little super slow-mo.
Good assortment of pitches from A.J. Ramos. Great shot.
Ball in the air to right, Ozuna. Michael Young going after a pitch. And Ramos has 2 very quick outs here in the 8th inning. The Reds have nudged in front of the Mets in New York. It's 4-3 in the top of the 6th. Braves have added to their lead, 5-0 over the Twins in the bottom of the 7th. Diamondbacks have scored first in Colorado, 1-0. And no, Gerardo Parra didn't open the game with a home run. But he has doubled. Eric Chavez has tripled. That's a good Arizona team, and they're still a little bit banged up. They still have a couple of guys, Aaron Hill in particular, on the power side, that's on the disabled list. Ramos misses away. Dodgers in Milwaukee have a 2-1 lead. Andre Ethier has hit a solo home run and has a triple. So Ethier,
he heard us talking about it.
Early in that game, he's got a triple and a homer. He has a double and a single for a cycle.
Part of that bullpen that we won't see, a guy we saw in Philadelphia a few times, is Mike Adams, who the Phillies placed on the disabled list.
Utley, and he fouls it back. Well, Alex Sanabia, 6 1/3. A Dominic Brown home run, the only blemish. Sanabia got double play grounders from Ben Revere in the 1st, from Chase Utley in the 4th. That certainly helped. He stranded 2 in the 6th, and then he got bailed out by Ryan Webb on a 1st and 3rd and 1-out spot in the 7th. Dominic Brown, as you saw, waiting.
See what A.J. has up his sleeve on this 3-2 pitch. Missed with a fastball.
Now he has to go after Dominic Brown. Mike Redmond said before the ball game that yesterday was a wild ride, and it probably got hairier than he wanted it to at the very end. But he said, you know what, I'll take that. If that's what it takes to win a game, I'll go through that. Off-speed pitch. Gets a strike, 0-1.
Not many 14-run laughers like the game in Philadelphia.
Since that game in Philly, what's the total? 12?
Marlins have played 12 games,
19
discounting
runs?
these 2 runs tonight, 19 runs, yeah. But the other thing, they've played the Phillies pretty well. If the Marlins can hang on and win this game, they'll be 4-4 against the Phillies this year.
Brown waits, and time called. In the top of the 8th inning, Miami has a 1-run lead. A.J. Ramos trying to protect it. Chase Utley's at first. If you don't keep him close, he'll steal second.
I'll tell you why this is a big inning. If Ramos can get through this inning and get Brown right here, Mike Redmond will feel comfortable turning it over to Cishek for a save because you don't have any glaring left-handed bats. You do have to deal with Galvis, the switch hitter. So we'll see how things go for AJ against Brown.
Utley's running. Mathis throw. Out! On a scoop, and Utley can't believe it. Echeverria with the catch and the tag. Utley is out. And the inning ends in disbelief. Out at second base, Charlie Manuel is racing out on the field. Here's a look. Oh, he looked like he was in. A.J. Ramos and Jeff Mathis sitting next to each other. Mathis with a quick release. Now the throw was low. Here's a look at Utley going in super slow-mo.
Some great camera work tonight. Watch his lead foot. Is it on the bag before the tag is applied on the backside? Kind of looks like it, but it was a lot closer when we saw the replay.
That's bang, bang. And even on that replay, it's really tough to tell. Placido Polanco, Derek Dietrich, Marcell Ozuna. So headed towards the 9th, it's not Steve Cishek who's up. It's Chad Qualls. Now Cishek's workload, going back to last Thursday when he had multiple innings, and then working twice in the last 2 games, has been pretty heavy. Ball into left, and Polanco's got a hit. And earlier today, in a bullpen session,
and you and I have talked about that, Rich, how difficult it is for a reliever, especially a closer, to go down and throw some pitches and work on things. So the workload, the bullpen session. Now you can see why the choice is for Qualls, who's warming up.
Justin DeFreitas exits after giving up the single. DeFreitas works an inning in relief, and he's responsible for Polanco. Dietrich is up, and Jeremy Horst is coming in. Marlins trying to hang on. MLB.TV celebrating 11 years. Join the millions of fans and subscribe today. You can watch every out-of-market game live online on your favorite mobile and connected device in HD quality with MLB.TV Premium. MLB.TV baseball everywhere. Horst, the lefty, takes over for DeFreitas. And he enters the ball game with a lefty up there.
Of course, it's interesting too, Rich, with Mathis throwing out Utley. Dominic Brown will lead off the ninth inning, the left-handed bat.
Dietrich takes outside. Now Horst may be in there just for one, but we'll see how the inning progresses. You got Ozuna, then Ruggiano, and then a lefty bat in Coghlan. And Charlie Manuel has a right-hander, Philippe Armand, in the bullpen.
And Horst is that prototypical situational lefty.
Breaking ball, and it's fouled back.
Dietrich has pretty good swings, hangs in there nicely against lefties. What happens is, because he was playing every day in Double-A and seeing righties and lefties, as he's come up here, he hasn't been put in a platoon situation. So he still looks fairly comfortable against some tough left-handers.
So he would be, Horst would be a loogie, which is a lefty one-out guy. That's the new buzz term for a lefty specialist. A loogie, lefty one-out guy.
I had another definition for a loogie, but we'll not discuss it.
Just keep that to yourself. Dietrich on his backswing clipped Kratz in the helmet.
Except one of those at bats the way he had against Chapman the other night.
One, two. Now Chapman would not be a loogie. On Wednesday at 6:30, that's Wednesday at the Clevelander, high heels in left field. The first 50 women receive exclusive giveaways that come to the Clevelander in high heels. Craig Minervini has already staked out his spot in the Clevelander, and he'll be giving live updates throughout the night. Into center, Revere and Young. Young gives way. Revere makes the catch. Polanco goes back to first base.
Yeah, Frank put in a bid for that, but lost out to Craig, and he will be going around the ballpark eating. Yeah, you're right. There's a one-guy matchup that Charlie Manuel had with his left-hander. Now he wants the right-hander, Amon, to face Ozuna.
It's amazing how there are lefty one-guy onlys. There aren't any righty one-guy onlys. Marlins Live after the game. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine. The spaceship is docked out there in center field. They've not arrived yet, but they're on their way. And it's all brought to you by Checkers. Philippe Aumont. And Aumont, the Canadian, arrives. And he takes over for Jeremy Horst.
Well, he's arrived 15 times previously, and he's doing a pretty good job for the Phillies. Fastball's live, and he gives you a tough motion to pick up the ball, and he's got a good curveball.
Marcell Ozuna, RBI single, but then he struck out twice against Cole Hamels. So did a lot of guys. 10 strikeouts for Hamels. All of them swinging tonight.
Yeah, his season high. Hamels turned things around. Remember, we talked about his strikeout to walks ratio, but he didn't walk a batter tonight either. Both starters with terrific control. Alex Sanabia, just one walk.
Oh, and 2. You can see pitchers in the big leagues over the last week really been testing the strike zone recognition of Ozuna with off-speed stuff. And he comes in with a fastball, 0-2. Hamels went 6, 2 runs, 10 strikeouts. Sanabia 6 1/3, 7 hits, 1 run. Ryan Webb bailed him out of a jam in the 7th. A.J. Ramos handled a scoreless 8th. Aumont is the 3rd to work for the Phillies in the bottom half here. Now he's on that breaking ball, and he drove it into center field. Polanco turns second, and he'll get to third.
I love a good swing, and I love it when the matchup stuff backfires. Great adjustment. How about this? Marcell Ozuna is now 10 for 20 against the Phillies this year. He just stayed back on that breaking ball and flipped it into center field with a little authority. That's a great approach.
Now here's Ruggiano. Big hit for Ruggiano came in the 6th inning when he banged a double off the wall in right field.
And I don't have to tell you, I don't have to tell anybody how important it is for the Marlins to try to get a little insurance and add on here.
Philly infield is actually halfway up the middle. Rollins and Utley. They'll take a double play if they can get it. On anything slow, they'll probably try to come to the plate. Ruggiano, 17 runs driven in. He bounced into a double play back in the 1st. Two and 0. Polanco. Ozuna. Up the middle, into center field. Ruggiano has done it again. And Miami stretches the lead to 3-1.
Well, it's been a struggle for Justin Ruggiano, and it's great to see him come out of it, which he has tonight. Another RBI with a base hit. Ruggiano leads the club with 18 RBIs. And the 2 balls that he's hit tonight show what he's been working on to try to stay back a little bit. The double was to the opposite field, and this base hit right back up the middle.
Now Chris Coghlan, 2 for 3 with a triple. Kratz is out for a visit with Omot. Our AT&T U-verse Twitter poll tonight. Will Cole Hamels finish over 500? Fans feel yes, he could. I mean, he's very capable in his track record of straightening it out. But if this lead holds for Miami, Hamels is going to fall to 1-7. Ruggiano has driven in the last 2 runs.
You're right. If this lead holds up, too, think about the games that he's pitched against the Marlins this year. The no decision. It was a 2-1 ball game. And then the loss, 2-0, that loss to Jose Fernandez.
And the odd, weird thing holds up in that Hamels, really good ERA against the Marlins in his career, but he would go to 8-12 with an ERA in the low 3s. Coghlan takes a good live fastball down low, 1-2. In the dirt, Kratz smothers it. If you're just happening by, the Marlins have a 3-1 lead over the Phillies, opening a 3-game series here in Miami. Tomorrow's game 2 is a Jose Fernandez start, so you want to be around for that. Cuban sandwiches for all of us. Always a good night here.
Always a fun night to watch Jose perform.
Coughlin couldn't hold up, and that off-speed pitch tied him up, and he strikes out. So if the inning is going to yield anything else, Nick Green is going to have to keep the line moving. Green is 0 for 3 tonight. The other storyline working here is that warming up to close this game was not Steve Cishek. As Green stands in, Chad Qualls has been up, and he's up again. As we noted, Cishek, a heavy workload of late and a side session this afternoon, trying to iron out a few issues.
Well, the veteran, Chad Qualls, no stranger. It's been a while since he's been a consistent closer. Had 24 saves for the Diamondbacks in 09.
Green breaks his bat. That's trouble. And Revere dives and can't get it. Scoring is Ozuna. Here comes Ruggiano. Here comes a throw, and he's going to score all the way from first. And it's 5-1. Nick Green plants one in center field. Good heads up by Joe Espada, the third base coach, and good hustle by Ruggiano.
I like the fact that Ruggiano went hard because you're not sure what's going to happen if you're the runner at first base. Revere never got there. Rollins couldn't get there. And you're absolutely right about Joe Espada. Great job aggressively bringing Ruggiano to the plate as well. He took a little peek over his shoulder. Looked like Joe Espada wanted to score himself. He was almost to the plate, so that was great.
The other thing, and it looked like on that replay, it looked like Rollins' throw hit the mound and kicked wide. How often do you get a two-run single with runners at the corners? But the Marlins will take it in a 5-1 lead. Mathis is up. I don't think it's any coincidence that Alex Zanavia and Ricky Nolasco have had two of their best outings with Jeff Mathis behind the plate. It's one of the reasons the Marlins signed Mathis, is to work with that young pitching staff, with the Valdes, the Turners, the Alvarez. Now they are not here, but Mathis is here now, and certainly everyone's hopeful that that trio arrives before too long. Mathis swings and misses, but Miami puts 3 enormous runs up on the board. Big night for Justin Ruggiano. RBI double in the 6th, an RBI single in the 8th. Both were big hits. One untied the game, the other stretched it to 3-1. And as Tommy pointed out, for Ruggiano, it had been an 0 for 18 skid, so to speak. It is Chad Qualls, but it's not a save situation. Miami up by 4.
That has to be nice, too, for Qualls, who spent a good part of the year, 35 games with the Phillies last year. The veteran, you see all the numbers. 51 saves. You mentioned no save situation here, even though he was getting ready for that. And just in case, Dwayne Velo, the left-hander who was just called up the other day, getting ready. So now, one thing for Mike Redmond, it gives him a couple of lefties down there with Dunn and Velo.
I like that. You see Mike Redmond go over to his third base coach, Joe Espada, pat him on the side and say, good job.
Yeah.
Dominic Brown now, as Qualls goes about the business of getting the final 3 outs of this ball game, and Brown's chopper. Green started towards the ball, but retreats in time to receive the Dietrich throw, and Dietrich and Green. Chad, see, Green still has those middle infield instincts.
Well, the Marlins trying to make it 2 in a row. The last time they won 2 in a row were the last 2 games in Philadelphia in that 4-game series.
Delman Young. And Young fouls it back. Young is 0 for 3. Then you got Freddie Galvis. Phillies getting some tough news today that Ryan Howard needed a cortisone shot in his knee. As well, Carlos Ruiz goes on the 15-day disabled list, but with a grade 2 strain in the hamstring, it's thought that 3 to 4 weeks will be needed. 2 key parts to this veteran Philly team. They got a nice start from Cole Hamels. 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs. Little fastball, high pop-up. Here in Miami, just a gorgeous night for baseball. As you can see, that's right outside of Marlins Park. Tommy's going to use that ATM before he heads home up the turnpike right there. Inside, no worries. And Young swings and misses. Qualls strikes him out. Chad Qualls is an out away as the Marlins try to make it 2 in a row.
Well, an area that the Phillies just aren't used to hanging around in is being near the bottom in runs scored. And the Phillies came into this game 12th in the National League in runs scored. We've talked about that as the game went on tonight. The lack of outfield production. Howard not having the kind of year they like out of him.
This is Galvis. Cortisone shots are not fun. Hopefully for the Phillies and for Howard it will help. 0-2.
Well, how about the smiles? It's been a long time since we've seen a little of that on the Marlins bench.
By the end of the game yesterday was no time to smile.
No, it wasn't.
Bases
Even
loaded.
in a win yesterday.
Bases loaded, full count, 1-run game. 0-2. That one pulled foul.
And the other note, if the Marlins keep it a 5-1 game, it'll be 3 games in a row that the Marlins have allowed just 1 run. They lost that 1-0 game, and then the 2-1 win yesterday, and a chance to win this one 5-1.
Chuck Hernandez likes that. 0-2. That one fouled off. Now Miami's ERA continues to shrink, and it will go down even further if this score holds. Marlins ERA 4.08 to begin with. 10th in the National League. Not what you would expect for a team that opened play at 12-32. And Qualls misses outside.
Well, I think Qualls thought he had a strike. I think Mathis thought he had a strike.
And wow, right on the black.
Yeah.
Rand Eye Institute.
Got the corner. The problem was Mathis was set up inside.
Got him there. Ball game. Marlins win it. They take game 1 against the Phils. Mike Redmond with the smile, handshakes. A terrific night for Alex Sanabia and the bullpen. Don't forget what Ryan Webb was able to do in the 7th. And Justin Ruggiano with 2 big RBI hits. That supplemented a nice night all around. Marcelo Zuna with a pair of hits. Nick Green with 2 RBIs. It adds up to a 5-1 Miami win.